legendary Reno 400. Rod, what's the feeling? What's the feeling of that guy? Exactly. Here comes Sid Smith now, and Smith is having a fantastic race. Humbug Racing taking care of all the pit duties for him. Bill Rigsby, the crew chief, really got this car working well. And what's going to be interesting is to find out if one of these buggies can make it to the top. And this kid right here, Sid Smith, has got his foot in it. Parker pumper, breathing system working on his helmet. Thank God he has that right now, because without it, he'd be breathing straight dust.
Well, that's right.
Now, if you got to pass somebody, you want to go outside a little bit. But that's not always the way it works. Sid Smith making his way up the canyon now, and he's had a fantastic run. I know you know a lot about this kid. He's pretty fast.
Well, yes, he is. And he's had a lot of experience, too. So he knows what he's up to. He's been there before a lot of times.
Now, he is all alone in his vehicle, Rod. Does that make it different than a driver with a co-driver?
Well, yes, it does, because everything that happens depends on you. If you have a problem, you're the only guy that's going to be able to fix it.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I wouldn't want to be out here in this Reno Rancho Suspension 400 all by my lonesome. But Bill Rigsby's got the car tuned in well, and Sid Smith continues to hammer to win the big one. Here's Sid Smith again, the Humbug Racing team. These guys have done a fantastic job getting this car ready to go. And as you can see, he's been driving it alone and doing a fantastic job. These guys continue to hammer a very tough race course. And you can see now the dust coming off the front wheels, Rod.
Well, yes, you can. And in the foreground there, you can see dust ahead of him, so you know he's catching somebody up there. He's going to have some problems working pretty soon.
Currently in the 5th spot, looking for number 4, then for number 3, then for number 2, and then to try to take.
He's been trouble-free all day, so he's in good shape.
Sid Smith now getting in front of Weston. Now remember, Weston is your overall race leader. Smith, though, is not doing a bad job. He's in 4th. Now remember, this is all because, so he is looking now to really make some time. Here's Sid Smith. This is getting close. Sid is in the 3rd spot. Sid does not know, though, where Weston is. Dave Weston is up in front of this race, but I don't think Sid knows just how close he is.
Well, Sid knows one thing. He's got to drive that buggy for all it's worth, because this is the home stretch, and this is your last chance to get it done.
Yeah, there's no turning around here, boy. You run for him. May make him a winner. As you can see now, the truck's going through the silt bed. Look how deep the silt is. And this truck's going to get stuck. That's truck number 701. They've been having some problems with it. That's Kellogg's entry. Kellogg now getting some help from some people that are out in the middle of the race course. But then you can see how deep that silt is, and he is stuck big time.
Yes, he is, and that's one of the disadvantages of a two-wheel drive vehicle out here, is because when you do make a mistake, you don't have the four-wheel drive to compensate for your problem.
Now look at the sides of the track, how deep that is. It's got to be 3 feet deep in sections. That truck is stuck, and they're going to have to work to get that truck out.
Yeah, that's one of the unfortunate things about lap races. The ruts just keep getting deeper.
And you can see now that Sid Smith, who is currently running in spot number 3, is headed for that area. Now the question is there enough room to get by? Because if not, Sid's going to have to take a real off-road excursion, and that not may be wise. There's the blockage right up ahead, and Sid's going to have to try to negotiate around it. This may be telltale sign of where Mr. Smith finishes this one. Look at the great shot of the helicopter backing on in. Sid gets tired. Look at that. And the helicopter has hit the high power lines. The helicopter has hit the high power lines trying to photograph Sid Smith. They're yelling out of the helicopter now to stay away from the live wires. Boy, Sid Smith, I think Sid may have heard that. He's trying to get out of the area. Oh, what a tough break for not only Sid, but the helicopter as well.
Well, this is where Sid Smith's got to stay calm. He can't get all excited with all this stuff going on around him.
Okay, let's look at it again in slow motion. Here's the helicopter. You see the high power lines. Here's Sid Smith. You can hear it. You can hear the lines coming. Now you can see the lines falling. That is live voltage right there, and it almost got one of the crew workers. One wire remains. A tough break, and they land the helicopter immediately. And Sid Smith, my God, here comes Sid Smith. He'll finish in the 4th spot. A great run for him. He was in the hunt all day long. Unbelievable. Some 400 miles.
A lot of interesting stories up and down the paddock here in the Pro Truck Stadium Series. Bob Gerald has been back there doing his investigative work and filed this report.
In motorsports, you hear stories of courage and bravery all the time, but here at Las Vegas, we have found a story with an extra dose of heart. About 3.5 years ago, in a desert pre-run, Dwight Lunkley suffered burns over 85% of his body in a horrible accident, but he has made it back. And Dwight, you told me earlier that there were 4 things you wanted to accomplish when you were laying there in the hospital. What were they?
Struggle with my feet, get back home, go back to work, and go back to racing.
And he's going to be going back to racing tonight as a rider, along with Sid Smith, who will be the driver. And Sid, tell me about how this will work now with the 2 of you in there. Will he be doing a little backseat driving?
Well, you know, I mean, that's the advantage of having 2 people in the truck and no mirrors. I've got him as a mirror, and I think if anybody comes in, I'll know about it before anybody else does.
Good luck to you guys.
Thank you.
Well, I did say something earlier about dedicated racers. Well, the tandem of Lunkley and Smith give that whole notion new definition. And they'll be back in just a moment as part of the Gold Heat number 2. Of course, earlier this evening, Steve Barlow won the first heat of that group and picked up 10 championship points, with Brian Stewart second with 8. Chuck Harris third, 7 points. Dwight Lunkley and his driver Sid Smith 6 points in 4th place. Then Jimmy Knuckles with a problem. His left front went flat with 5 points. But that's how we score it. We're about ready to go back to action here as they're beginning to move out of the staging area and onto the floor of Sam Boyd Stadium. So stand by for action. We'll be in your face once again. And Bob Gerald.
And Chris, let me talk to you about how tough these pro truck drivers are. Let's take Chuck Harris, for example, the driver of number 80 from right here in Las Vegas. In April of 1997, Chuck ripped his stomach muscles in a race, kept on driving. The doctors told him, Chuck, you have to sit down for at least 5 or 6 months. Well, guess what, guys? 4 weeks later, Chuck was back behind the wheel of a truck, and he endoed the truck in a test, and that made the stomach muscles all bad again. Well, he's finally had about 3 months now to let the muscles heal, and he's hoping that they're going to hold up here in this next heat race.
Well, they held up through 1 heat, Ivan, but you guys just don't know when to quit anyway, do you?
Well, let me tell you, Chuck is one tough guy, I tell you. He's living his dream. He's wanted to operate road race for many, many years, and now he's got a chance. He's on the front row.
He's on the front row along with the folks he shared the back with last time. They invert the field, and underway we are into turn number 1, and right up on the side, that is number 88, Jimmy Knuckles, who had the flat in the first heat, but he gathers it up. He did hit the retainer, but he keeps going, and he's right in the fight as they jam up, and the left-hander there coming into the rhythm section, and there's been heavy contact with the other truck.
Well, they got a bumpers hung up. That's what we don't like to see, but they're going to get apart. Hopefully they get jerked apart. There they go. They're apart now.
Number 52, that is Dwight Lunkley and Sid Smith, his driver. Lunkley, of course, is the co-driver listed on the truck, and they have led the first lap now, followed in close order by Brian Stewart into the sweeper. Brian's got a lot of experience. He ran second in the first heat, and he'll certainly be a contender the rest of the way.
Brian has. He's got a lot more experience